Hi, Carrie. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you, Megan?
Good. I'm really good. It's a bright and sunny, actually, Saturday morning here. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri, actually at my home. So I'm actually showing people a little more of my life than I usually like to, but that's the world we're living in. And so here we are. So I am, like I said, Megan Holmes, and I am one half of the Pointing It Out podcast. And for those people who are just joining us, the Pointing It Out podcast is here on YouTube. We like to produce a podcast. We're doing it about every other week now. During the pandemic, my partner in crime, Melissa McLeod, and I kind of started this thing that we call the Needlepoint podcast. We were doing it about once a week, and life has gotten a little crazier. So now we're doing it about every other week. But Melissa is up just outside of Detroit for those people, again, who are just joining us at her shop, The Wool and the Floss. And I am here, like I said, in St. Louis, Missouri, not at my shop, the Needlepoint Clubhouse, but it's just about a couple miles away. So, and we are delighted to have Carrie. And Carrie, I'm going to have you say your last name for me.
It's Kuska.
Kuska. I wasn't sure the pronunciation, so
it's all good. Thank you.
I didn't want to hack job that, but Carrie is the owner, lead designer, all of the titles of the Kangaroo Paw, correct? Or is it just Kangaroo Paw?
So it's Kangaroo Paw Designs.
Designs, great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Carrie, how long have you? Now, did you start the business? I guess is the first question. You didn't acquire it from anyone.
I started it. This was my brainchild about 10 years ago.
Oh, wow. It's been 10 years. Okay.
It's been 10 years, but it was definitely a part-time at the beginning because I had a full-time career.
Wow.
And it was a little something to do on the weekends when I started out.
You know, what's funny for, I don't know if you know this, but that's exactly how I got my start as well. I had a full-time career and decided, this needlepoint thing's kind of cool. I had the opportunity actually to buy a business, which is what kind of launched me into the industry. But yeah, so I'm not 10 years in. I'm only about 5 years in. So you've got me beat there. So were you a needle pointer and saw kind of an interest in some designs you wanted to create?
So a needle pointer, yes, very basic. Basket weave was really about all I did. And I was just amazed at all of the stitches and the beautiful stitching that I saw on social media and in shops and things like that. And so a couple of things in starting the business. One, I come from a long line, if you will, of entrepreneurs. My mother, my father, I have uncles. I had an uncle that owned a small newspaper. So that's kind of in the genes, so to speak. So the idea of having a business of my own, always appealed to me.
Okay.
The other thing was artistic endeavors were kind of my happy place, if you will.
Yeah.
And it just sort of naturally fell into place, the idea of painting needlepoint. And I really had no training, no experience with doing it, but just started kind of playing around. And it was truly a learn as I go type of thing.
So you didn't have any artistic background, no painting classes or experience with acrylics or anything?
Not really. I mean, I was an art minor in college,
okay.
But it was mostly drawing. I worked in the garment business in Dallas when I graduated from school for a brief period of time.
Oh my gosh. Fun.
And so there was always that artistic part of me that was out there. But then this just became sort of a fun project, if you will. I quilted in the past, lots of different things. And this was super relaxing and fulfilling in so many different ways. There were a lot of things going on in my life. My father was ill and things like that just gave me an outlet. And it was kind of surprising how it grew rather quickly. And then in the past a few years, I guess I should say, it really took off.
So you, did you have a design that inspired the beginning of your painting? So you said to yourself, I don't see this anywhere, I'd like to paint this, or kind of what was the beginning of your designs?
So that's a great question. Actually, what started my interest was the social Greeks. So fraternity and sorority design.
Okay. Okay.
When being in the Greek world when I was in school, I loved to stitch, and there really wasn't a whole lot out there. There were things for sure. Most of them were crests and things like that,
Okay.
but I just saw an opportunity to maybe have some fun with the social Greek designs, and I looked into the licensing aspect of that, which was kind of an interesting thing as well.
I have to
And
ask. So you're a member of a sorority?
so yes, I was a Kappa Alpha Theta at
Kappa.
TCU
Okay. So I was a
back
Tri
in the day.
Sigma. And I don't talk about it. I was at a small school with a very small Greek system, but yeah.
Yeah,
It's kind of fun to say, yes, I was in a sorority, but
absolutely.
some of the
Absolutely.
experiences.
Yes. And I will say that world sets you up for so many things in life. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Yes, I did have a
Anyone's
very
thinking
nice,
about it, right? Go Greek for sure.
I had a great experience for sure. And honestly, that's one of the reasons why when we're talking about who to interview on a regular basis, right now is kind of that spring rush.
They just completed, I think.
Is it? Okay. I don't keep
Most of them.
I've got little people, as you can tell, running around. I'm not at the collegiate.
It's all good.
But anyway, so I'm sorry, I interrupted you. So you kind of, you thought painting something for the Greek, you call it social Greeks, which is a great way to put that.
Right.
And so tell me the next step, because I know that you have to, I hope I'm saying this right, pay a licensing agreement.
You do.
Okay.
You do. So there's a couple of different organizations that license Greek merchandise.
Okay.
And it's this was something that didn't exist when I was in school. None of that was licensed or controlled, and pretty much you could see anything anywhere with their marks and their symbols. So collectively, these groups have standards that you have to adhere to. So the first thing is to apply for licensing. And yes, you're correct. You pay a licensing fee, an application fee that's actually paid yearly, and then you pay a royalty on anything that you sell. And those are reported quarterly. Right.
You're keeping
Yeah.
track. And so not to get too far in the weeds, but I'm just interested. Yeah. So are you paying per organization, or just as like Pan-Hellenic or in fraternity, or like, are you paying like per sorority, or is it just?
Great question. Yes. So it's per organization. You apply for licensing. They send you a contract that's actually very long, and you need to read it because there are things in there. They control a lot of their marks and how they want their brands displayed. So there's some things that you can do. There's some things you can't. I'll give you an example. So Phi Gamma Delta, Fiji fraternity, they don't want their Greek letters being used on just anything. They would prefer that you just say Fiji. So you'll notice on my designs, they all say Fiji, and I don't have the Phi Gamma Delta letters.
Gotcha.
On like their houses, they use it on some of their official internal correspondence. So that's an example of where there's a little bit of a limitation there in terms of being able to bring that design to life for people. Another thing is over time, they change some of their guidelines. So Alpha Delta Pi, for example, uses the lion as one of their mascots. They, a couple of years ago, decided to take that mascot more internal, and they would prefer that their licensed vendors use diamond instead. So yeah, they use it for kind of for their own purposes. And again, it's just, the way they want to see their brand displayed. So you will notice on my designs, I'm transitioning things that were previously the lion into diamond.
So then I'm just a big fan of logistics. So I'm just processing all of this. So are you literally writing a check to each like fraternity, like quarterly?
So through the Greek licensing company, I just submit reports, and then I can pay them directly. They receive kind of a lump payment. I actually just completed this process for the end of 2021. So yeah, but basically it's done by group. So I have to report everything I sold, who I sold it to, and kind of all the details of what was sold. Each design also, here's an example of a little round that's very popular for us. Design has to be approved in advance.
Oh,
so
wow.
When I create a design, even if it's a custom design, I send it in for approval. usually takes just a few days. It depends on how much they have in backlog. They're actually real easy to work with, but the design could come back to me and say, you know what, it's not approved, and here's why.
Got you.
It might just be a nuance with the letters. Alpha Omicron Pi, for example, they don't like serifs. So that's the little things on each end of the letters there.
Okay.
Like serifs. So if I painted something with a serif, they would send it back and say it needs to be redone.
Sans serif. Got you. Oh,
Right.
that's so fascinating.
Then when I go into production, you can see the little sticker, hopefully, right there. This is a supply of stickers that we're required to use and affix to each design that tells the consumer that we're a licensed vendor.
How interesting. I love that. So, you know, I don't think people understand, I think, the amount of work that goes into actually having a fairly sizable licensing agreement. I mean, that's a lot of organization. So do you know off the top of your head, I'm putting you on the spot, how many like Greek organizations you're producing?
So, yes. So for me, I'm licensed for 28. It will soon be 29 organizations. So it is a yearly agreement that I have. And usually at the year, I can decide to add or drop a group. They do have required minimums yearly. So if it's a group that I don't sell a lot in, that's kind of a business decision that I have to make every year.
Of course.
And decide. But then if I start getting requests for things, I look into the prospect of relicensing with them. So it's not a forever thing. If I was to not license a group 1 year, but then a couple of years later, I start getting requests, then I'm able to go in and do that.
Yeah, that's a big business decision, like you said. And also a lot of what I'm bad at is like bookkeeping. So in other words, if somebody says to you, I want to have this done, you want to keep track of that so that you are able to then make good decisions for the year after. That's so interesting.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So is that your only licensed? So
it is.
Let me rephrase that. So you have a pretty large line of designs, but that's the only licensing agreement that you work under. Is that the right way to say it?
Correct. Yes. So yes, to your point, my line has gotten a lot bigger, especially in the last couple of years. I've branched off into other things, but I'm actually very respectful of things that are licensed out there. So for example, the colleges, I don't use their mascots, their fonts. I don't paint any of their trademark items that, you know, to me, it's just not where I'm at. Some of that, it may be in the future if I'm able to license that and have it be a good business decision. But I might do things that kind of have the flavor, if you will, of schools. I know that's a huge request from a lot of consumers come in and want items with their schools on them. So I look at creative ways that I'm able to bring that to life without infringing on their trademarks and their licenses.
Yeah, I think you do a great job with that. Just anecdotally from my saying, hey, I need this school, or you do a great job of kind of giving the inspiration of the school or the mascot, but not really tap dancing too closely to the licensing or the infringement of the licensing agreement. And the other thing I think is fascinating as I'm listening to all this, and probably some of my other shop owners who watch this, you're very nimble. So if I say to you, hey,
thanks.
This university or this, and so it's amazing to me that you're able to create these products so quickly for us. So I mean, for example, we had a request for I just lost my train of thought. The Missouri Bears. I think it's the Southwest Missouri or Southeast.
Yes, Southwest Missouri State.
It's Southwest Missouri. Thank you.
Yes.
And you were able to kind of take one of your designs and pretty quickly produce something that was resonating with these alumni. And so I guess my question is, are you doing a lot of the painting yourself for like the originals? And then are you using a reproduction service like a lot of designers, or how are you?
So yes, and yes. So
well, a combination of both. Sure.
Right. A combination of both. So I hate for your customers to have to wait. And I understand waiting, and we're in a world that we, for a long time, really didn't have to wait for anything. Now it's a little bit different, right? But I do what I can to try and get things out as quickly as possible. Sometimes it is a wait, and I feel bad about that, but I want to ensure that the quality is there as well.
Right.
Because one of the things that I think is the greatest about this industry, and Megan, this is where shops are so amazing, is clients are literally making items that will live beyond our lifetimes.
Yeah, it's amazing,
They're
isn't it?
passed down, and you see things posted sometimes that people find old needlepoint at a yard sale or something, and you think, oh my gosh, the person that created that is gone,
Yeah.
but it's living on. And there's a respect out there in the industry for things that were created a long time ago, and the creativity that goes into that.
Mhm.
So I want to ensure that the canvas that I'm selling to shops, and in turn is going to your clients, is something that they enjoy stitching, that's a quality piece that they're going to be proud to be able to enjoy it, but then also pass it on to future
Right.
generations.
Right, and gift it. Exactly.
Exactly.
A good point. Very good point. So you're busy painting and managing licenses and managing reproduction and all these things. And so back to the one point you made, which was you were originally doing this part-time.
I was.
And
So-
I understand that battle, that kind of balancing act, which is not easy. And so how long now have you been fully immersed in this business?
So fully immersed just in the last really 6 months.
Wow.
Yes, I was very blessed. And things I truly believe work out how they're supposed to. And this is a great example of that. I had a great 20-year career in corporate cosmetics
Mhm.
that I enjoyed very much and cannot say enough good things about. It was an incredible chapter in my life. And while I started doing the needlepoint on the side, it was growing to be big and bigger than a 24-hour day could absorb.
Right.
And I was realizing to myself, particularly in the last year, that I was going to have to make a decision. And it's the kind of decision you don't want to have to make. You don't know, what's the right thing to do.
Right.
And the great news for me was that there was a restructure in my company, and I had the opportunity to retire, so to speak. And it just was kind of like, there's the answer right there.
Right.
And so I have in the last it was summer, so July, that I was able to move into full time. And literally, I feel like the last 6 months have been about 20 minutes long.
Yeah, isn't that right? For so
I'm like,
many
oh my
reasons, right?
gosh, right? If I was still doing both, I don't know that I would be sane and be able to
Right.
carry on a conversation.
Right, right.
Like I said, it was the perfect timing. It was like I said, I can't say enough good things about my past 20-year career, and truly learned so much about the entrepreneurial spirit and being able to make decisions and run your own business, because
Right.
they enabled me to do that.
Great.
So I've applied so much that I learned there. Definitely a lot about working with clients and
For sure.
providing great service. And
You provide great customer service. Your response is quick. And like I said, a request for in your world, probably an obscure college can come together pretty quickly, which I think is kind of amazing.
Thank you.
And so in the last 6 months, you've been able to kind of like take a deep breath, focus. And so are there aspects of your business that you're interested in growing, aspects that you now have more time to focus on, that you are kind of hoping in the next 6 months you can really get after, or kind of what are you?
Yes. So yes and yes.
Sure.
To answer your question quickly, yes. First of all, we had the privilege, and it truly was a privilege, of a in-person market.
Isn't that the
And
truth?
it was amazing.
Oh my gosh.
And just to be able to see people, and while computers do amazing things and Zoom and all of that, there's something to be said for the in-person contact and being able to carry on a conversation, to touch and feel and look at a canvas and be able to kind of get great ideas, which I got so many during that market. So definitely trying to catch up with that. I had a lot of orders that are still in the hopper. So anyone who's still waiting, I promise I'm working on them
We
as
know,
quickly as
yes.
possible,
Yes.
right? So that, but then there's also some other things, and I have a couple canvases here that did really well for me in my little luggage tags. And I think I could paint these in my sleep.
Oh, cute. So
So
when you say luggage tags, those go into the planet Earth. Is it
right, these are 2x3s, so luggage tags, but it could go, planet Earth does so many amazing self-finishing components
They
in
do.
all the yummy colors. So that being said, yummy colors
Love that.
are coming, and this is literally hot off the painting board.
Love those.
Matching.
You know, I like to try to dress for my subject. And so I honestly wore
Mhm.
today because that's what I always think of when I think of Kangaroo Paws, the bright lime greens and the hot pinks and the just fun, friendly, cheerful colors.
Right, thank you.
Different colorways. Yeah.
Yes, so having some fun with that. I think you can expect to see some more Halloween. So more Halloween, and then I'm hoping to get to Christmas. I would like to say I want to be caught up, but I don't know that I'm going to be caught up anytime soon. So it will happen. I
Then
definitely.
what do you have to look for? You don't want to be caught up. Then what would you have to look forward to?
Right? Well, you know, it's a nice thought every once in a while to say,
Yeah.
oh, I'm caught up.
Yeah.
So Christmas, I definitely want to do it in my way. There's a lot of beautiful Christmas out there. And I tend to think, excuse me, of my different categories of businesses telling a story. And in my previous career, we told a lot of amazing stories to consumers, and it helped them connect with the brand and the company and feel good about what they were buying. I want to tell the story through needlepoint with each of these categories. So Halloween is really going to be my story. I'm not finished telling that yet. So like I said, you'll see more. Greek, you're going to see some new Greek in the fall. And I believe that I have a trunk show, Megan, with you all, that there might be a lot of newness there.
Yay. I'm so
fall.
bad at keeping up with what the calendars are that I take one month at a time. So I'm glad you know when our trunk show.
I hear you. Yes, I hear you. So right around fall recruitment time. So that'll be great. There'll be some fun, exciting things there. And like I said, Christmas, when I know what my story is I'm going to tell, you'll see that as well.
Well, one of my favorites of yours, I don't think I've seen anyone else do, which is like you saying, you're telling your story. And I also think it's so important for designers to stay in their lane. You know, I think of a specific design when I think of you. And if you started doing something outside of that, it would just be kind of odd, right? And it probably wouldn't feel right to you. But the one that I love is the one we have is the state of Missouri. And then we have the little Santa hat on St. Louis. And it can be painted, I think, in different locations on the state. I think you
Sure.
I hope I'm not putting more words.
Absolutely.
I think it says home or Mary, or I don't know. I can't remember.
It says home. Yes.
Yeah, home. Okay. And so then that's where the Santa hat is on the state, which that's one of my favorites. And I think that's unique to your line. And I like that state shape thing too. I think that's a lot of fun.
Thank you. Yes. And the state shapes, I'm going to try and pull one out here that I have. This is actually for our friend Melissa. This is her exclusive. That's at Wool and the Floss.
That's
so,
right.
Whether it's
just like you.
Yeah, in the bright colors and with either a city name or a saying like home or pride or anything. I get so many great ideas from shops that just sort of spur me on. So I'm always open to hearing what you have to say.
The other one that I love that we sell a lot, I probably, every time I do these interviews, I'm like, oh gosh, do we have that in stock? And I'm talking about this and then we probably don't have it in stock. We've gotten a better POS system though, so I can manage some of this. So that'll be coming. But the one that we love too is the one for the University of Missouri that has the tiger. I guess you call them tiger stripes, tiger patterning.
Yeah, the tiger pattern.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun too. You do that really well. Like you said, kind of a nod to the mascot, but not, you know, egregious.
Right. Yeah, I'm not painting the tiger in the little oval, but yes, so the tiger pattern. Absolutely. Yes, very good. I'm glad you like that.
Oh, well, we do really well with those designs. So it's a lot of fun. So you said you've got some things. You shared a little glimpse of a new piece with me when we were at market. In fact, to your point, getting together, this podcast grows a lot out of having conversations with people. And what is your story, and what kind of story can we tell? And so, you and I connected in Frisco when we were there,
Right.
how we got this kind of lined up. And so it is important to be in person. And I remember a conversation we had about you kind of trying to grow your line in some different ways too. So maybe we can sneak peek.
Yes.
Designs when we do this.
So I am going to be doing some bigger pieces. The vast majority of my pieces are smaller. And those are great. They're quick to paint and they're quick to stitch, and everybody's happy with that. But sometimes you're looking for a bigger piece. Right. And I certainly noticed since COVID hit a couple of years ago that people were at home, they were spending more time needlepointing, and they were enjoying bigger pieces. I was seeing some beautiful designs from other designers, and I kind of started thinking about how I could tell the story, my story, within a bigger piece. So yes, I will have some sneaky peeks of that. I'm hoping to have them in Atlanta, but if not Atlanta, maybe Dallas in the fall. And yeah, I'm looking forward to that. So I can definitely get you a little advance sneak peek picture.
I'd love to see that.
Something that's coming. So
tell us, Carrie, when you do your own stitching, what do you like to stitch? Are you stitching a lot of your own pieces just for samples, or are there some other designers you like, or other styles that you like to stitch?
So I don't have a lot of stitching time.
Sure.
I actually had more stitching time when I was on the road in my previous job, because I would be in a hotel room or I would be in an airport waiting to board a flight. And that was something that was sometimes an easy thing to do, take a few minutes and do that, decompress and what have you. But there's a lot of amazing designers out there. Hedgehog needlepoint and those luggage tags, they're incredible.
They're fun.
So I actually have one of those in my stash that I'm looking forward to stitching when I have a few minutes to do so. I love the idea of bigger pieces, and I would love to stitch a bigger piece. I have several in my stash. Again, it's just kind of finding the time, right? Finding the time to do it.
I get it.
Yeah, it's gosh, there's so much talent in the industry. It's inspiring, and it's just really great to see, what all that you all then in turn have to offer to clients that come in.
Well, the other thing, there is a lot of needlepoint out there, and we do applaud you for sticking with the wholesale model. That's something that is kind of very important to those of us who own shops. And so, so just for those people watching, Carrie does not have a direct sale platform. So you do order those directly through your local needlepoint shop. But you're probably working with a good number of shops all across the country. So
yes,
this would be that if someone is watching and says, oh, my kid goes to this little school in whatever, or then they should just go to their local shop and
correct.
Have this idea and they'd like them to reach out to you. We can, I'm speaking for you, but the way you can make it happen.
Sure, absolutely. And going through your local shop is really the best thing to do. Certainly, if someone was to reach out to me on social media, and that happens every once in a while, I do let them know that we are wholesale only, and really they would need to get all of the details and the specifics from their shop, because the shop is really who's going to bring the piece to life. I'm painting a design on canvas, but then the shop is going to be able to help in thread selection, in stitch guides and things like that. I don't write stitch guides, and actually that's kind of purposeful that I don't, because my whole goal is to have the client be involved with the needlepoint shop. And then from a finishing aspect, sure, they can do the self-finishing, and I think those are amazing. But then also when you talk about heirloom pieces, this is again where shops play such a huge role. And again, the gorgeous finishing that I see is, gosh, it's just unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff out there. And that's why Instagram and, Facebook and all these social media platforms have been so fun, because there's so many ideas bouncing around with, like you said, finishing and such. So what I know about the Planet Earth pieces is it takes a little bit of pressure off of us.
Sure, right? Especially at the holidays.
Well, and you're able to produce a few more things, maybe in a more timely fashion, if you're able to kind of pop them into one of those beautifully made, as you alluded to earlier, and
gorgeous.
yeah, things. So I'm glad that you're following.
Like
Oh,
these.
look at you. Okay, I can't. Does that say?
It says cash stash on it.
Oh,
These
how
are the little,
cute.
and this is just a model, so there's probably still stuffing inside here. There is. But they're the little Planet Earth wallet. And I didn't mean to interrupt you, Megan, but as you
No,
were,
this is great. This is exactly what I was talking about, which is
yeah,
so many different opportunities for self-finishing. And it also helps
yeah,
people be able to, like I think I was saying, get gifts going faster, because there's only so much we can do with the hand finishing, but with these self-finishing, it's so great. So,
right.
And the other thing is the colors, like you were trying to kind of keep up, the colors change a lot with those leather goods, but we are
With the components.
kind of stitch other colors on top too, if need be. So,
Right. Absolutely.
yep. Well, this has been fun. Is there anything I haven't asked you about your business that you'd like to share with us? I appreciate, so I'll just give a tiny little anecdote. For those of you who are following along, I actually had knee surgery this week. So I'm kind of sitting here propped up. That's why I've got like this mess behind me and I'm not at my shop. And Carrie has been so gracious in scheduling and doing this with me.
Oh, it's been fun.
And I'm a little flaky, so I don't have all my ducks in a row. But so I'm hoping that we've covered all of the aspects of your business. I'm thankful to you for sharing with us, particularly about that licensing agreement, because I think that's something that people don't hear a lot about, on a regular basis. And to me, it's just fascinating how that all works. But but is there anything else you want to share with us?
I think I think we covered the gamut of things. It's pretty basic, and it's pretty simple, but simple sometimes isn't always easy. So, there are hiccups. And like I said, if someone has to wait for a canvas, I apologize about that, but know that, and I'm kind of speaking for other designers too, but I think we're all in the same boat. We're working to get things out as quickly as possible and keep everybody stitching and happy.
Yeah. And, I always say to people, there are always things that are available. And, it's great to have a wish list. If you've got a design from Carrie that we can't get right away, put it on your wish list. We'll get it ordered and work on something else in the meantime. And, there's a lot of things to stitch. That's for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, the dinosaur game has gotten a little more crazy than I hoped it had. So I hope that wasn't too distracting for everybody.
They're having fun. Love it.
Well, Carrie, this has been awesome. And I really appreciate your time and your expertise. And I look forward to you, as you alluded to, in Atlanta. I'll be there.
Yes.
Assuming is healthy. And I also look forward to the trunk show that you know more about than I do.
This fall, I believe we're August. If I'm
Yay. And that'll be here before we know it. You know that?
Oh my gosh. Seriously, it will.
So, well, I'm delighted for you and congratulations for having both feet.
Thank you.
In the needlepoint industry as of 6 months ago. We love having your designs and appreciate your time. So
thank you.
Us up here, I think I will be this actually a lot of times we film these in advance, but with my current situation, we're actually dropping this episode tonight, which is Saturday. And so Carrie will tell all her friends and we'll get this out there, but we appreciate everybody watching. Hit the subscribe button on YouTube if you haven't already. That helps us to continue to get the word out and to help get continue to get great people like Carrie to join us on the podcast. So have a great
Thank you, Megan.
So much.
It's a great honor.
Oh, you're so sweet. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.